Hello Collective and welcome to the SLS South Beach. My name is Jackie Gifford and I'm the Special Projects Editor at Travel+Leisure. And I'm here with a few of this year's Shared Idea speakers to discuss the most important consumers impacting the future of travel, the creative class. Ellie has teamed up with the Creative Class Group to produce the industry's first focused report into this psychographic. So to carry on from the findings, I have two people here with me who are all familiar with their behavior and preferences, having both conducted their own research and being a part of it themselves. So please welcome Stefan Siegel, founder and CEO of Not Just a Label, and Ana Angelic from Havas LuxHub. So guys, to get started, let's start with Stefan. Tell us, who exactly are the creative class to you? Oh, okay, all right, Stefan, we're gonna go. All right, ladies first. You know what? Ladies first, let's do it. So Anna, to get us started, tell us who exactly are the creative class to you, and what are their characteristics and why are they important?
Well, for me, creative class, I think it can be looked globally because that's maybe the first demographics that really has more similarities than differences on a global scale when we are looking at different markets. So we're talking about creative class in China is more similar to creative class in Russia and in Europe and United States and Latin America than it was ever before. And for me, and we have a client, Kitten Ace, that is focused specifically on delivering and designing clothes for creative class, is that group of consumers who wouldn't even define themselves as consumers. So they don't have a traditional 9-to-5 jobs. They're like Stefan, like entrepreneurial. They're like creating their own sort of path, and they probably move a lot more than any previous generations. They're much more present in culture. They're much more plugged in and know what's going on in the world, and they care much more. So they're more about learning and caring, sustainability and transparency and corporate responsibility. So they choose their brands not based just on price, but also based on the values they identify with, like the values that those companies convey throughout the entire value chain. So in that sense, I would say that creative class is more interested in active participation in the world rather than passive consumption of it. Consumption was never passive to say, but like they're way more. But if they can't find a product they want, they invent it. You know, they create themselves. You know, every time they see an unmet need, they address it. They're not like, oh, let someone else do that. Yeah, very entrepreneurial, very inventive, and very present and participatory.
Entrepreneurial, inventive, and present. All right, Stefan, what would you say? Who are the creative class? What are their characteristics, and why are they important?
Well, I think let's start with why they're important. I think what is a huge phenomenon that we see happening now is how creative people are moving across the world in terms of there's a competition between cities now. So gentrification is not something that is only happening within certain aspects of cities, but is happening between cities. So if a certain region does not cater to the needs anymore, we see them moving around. We see them living in other creative capitals, and I think through the digitalization and them becoming, we call them netizens. So you know, instead of citizens, they act as part of a global network, and they can do that anywhere, you know, anywhere. Yeah. Exactly. They don't have to be in New York or London anymore, and that's why you see more and more creative people actually leaving those two cities in particular. And of course, you know, I think we have a challenge, but at the same time an opportunity to, in some way, become a gatekeeper to this community and in some way cater to them and find ways to make their lives easier, to come up with products that change their lives, but also ours. And yeah, overall, we live in a really exciting time.
I agree with you completely. I think you've really hit the nail on the head. Is that creativity can be sparked anywhere, and it doesn't have to be in the key, what used to be the key cities. There's still key cities, but really people are traveling and living and working everywhere. Yeah. And they can do it. The office is on the road.
Yeah, and I think that's not something new. It's just more that you know, for the first time, and we represent over 21,000 fashion designers across the world. It is more that the industrialized nations are finally opening up their eyes and seeing, you know, there's talent coming out of countries like Lebanon or Ukraine or Brazil. And I think, you know, that will be a huge challenge also for creatives living in those established creative capitals.
And I'm going to just follow that up with a specific question. So how do you think the creative class are changing consumer patterns within travel and hospitality specifically? What is their value and importance to the travel industry?
Well, I think travel and let's say the sort of the lifestyle sector is changing drastically, and we see that in fashion. I think in some way, you know, we are the victims of an improved hospitality and sort of lifestyle sector where people seek the experience. Mm-hmm. So disposable income is used to do more than just, you know, wear a piece of clothing, and that is something where fashion has to work on. Of course, that means that those funds are being used to generate experiences while traveling. Mm-hmm. That's why you see, you know, the fitness and health industry, right. You know, the restaurants, all of these sort of new concepts are coming more out of your industry than ours. But I think that is where the opportunity lies. Of course, it has a lot of problems as well, because as soon as you have more money being spent on experiences, you have a completely different need in terms of structure, in terms of logistics, which again, you know, I'm not going to open the book of sustainability, but I think there is a huge opportunity in terms of how people spend their free time.
Yeah, completely. Ana, I want to come back to you. So how do you really think the creative class is changing consumer patterns within travel and hospitality? And what is their value and importance to the travel industry?
Well, there is a lot of them. That's their value and importance. And then we have, of course, the Uberization of every industry, and we have Airbnb that really redefined what the core.
Yeah, speaking of the shared economy.
And so now you're dealing with services and experiences versus just amenities and hotel rooms. So now it's more about pushing the boundaries. What's unique, what's distant, what are those unique destinations that no one was there before, and what can I learn when I travel? It's not travel anymore as escapism. Oh, I'm just going to go on a cruise, or I'm just going to go to Ibiza, or I'm going to go to Mykonos and do what everyone else and 35 generations before me have done. I want to go to, I want to climb Kilimanjaro, or I want to go to La Paz, Bolivia, because Noma chef has opened a new restaurant there, or I want to go to China and I want to learn the art of ancient pottery or something. So I think the travel now is more a learning opportunity and spiritual, mental and physical enrichment, and then you have the wellness tourism, and you have a Burning Man, which is all about and the founders of Burning Man, they're all created. You see those festivals that are intellectually and mentally and physically stimulating. So it's not anymore I just go and lie on a beach. It's more about what am I going to get out of this.
I agree with you. It's travel with a purpose for a reason. It's experiential. I also think what's important right now,
understanding the local culture, enjoying diversity versus seeking the sameness, because you can go to Soho House, to New York, to London, to Istanbul, and it's going to be the same. That's not the point. Why Airbnb is so successful is not anymore because of redefining core value unit. It's because it was no, but learn, get close to the locale, to the neighborhood, to people who actually live in a different way than you live, and that's going to bring the world closer together and so on. I mean, we can buy it or not buy it, but the true matter of fact is, if you're staying in someone's apartment, of course you're going to be exposed to less uniform service and experience than if you stay in a hotel.
Well, it's interesting that you bring up the shared economy. So how do you see this valuable segment of society changing and growing over the next few years?
Sharing economy, I think it's just going to keep forcing hotels to start competing by Hilton Hotel, or I think it's Hyatt or Hilton, here creating unbounded series of their hotel partnerships forced by Airbnb that are all boutique, unique, one-of-the-kind places. So I think they're going to start being less cookie cutter and more oriented towards uniqueness of the locale, really.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. And this is Ellie Miami.